What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Second Guessing with Stressans. I'm your host, Garrett Williams, aka Texans commenter. And sorry there, but it's been a minute, man. I wasn't able to go last week, obviously late this week. Schedule's been a little hectic with the holidays, but appreciate you guys. Shout out Brandon over there on YouTube. I got to make sure and click live on Instagram, but yeah, as always, make sure and follow me on all platforms at Texans Commenter or at Houston Stressans website, HoustonStressans.com with merch, CJ Stroud shirts, him shirts. Tomorrow I will be having hosting a watch party along with several other Texans content creators, Ruben, Harley, AD, Texans on 3, Texans Jacob. I think Clayton will also be there. So plenty of people from Houston Texans, community at Carbach Brewery. The game is at 3:30. I'll probably be there around 2, so come as early as you'd like. Obviously, there's food and beverage on site. It's family, kid friendly. Also bring canned foods. We're partnering with the Houston Food Bank to do a food drive. We'll have some, raffle prizes to give out, and we'll be having a live stream going on. So come through, man. I'll be there. I'll have my family there. So anyhow, but it's been a while for me. I missed last time I spoke to y'all was before the before the Cardinals game. So I'll try my best just to kind of give you my quick thoughts on everything to get caught up, and then try and focus most of this as a preview on the Chargers game. But Cardinals game I thought was a good game. Some people felt like it could have been better. Defense didn't play that great. Yada yada. I think Jacoby Brissett's underrated. I think that defense still played pretty well. Yeah, they didn't play up to their standard, but they took care of business. It was a good win. Sorry, I just saw some marker on my computer from my daughter. I'm wiping off there. And then as far as the Raiders game, I definitely overlooked them. It seems like the team did. But going back through, I've watched most of the film. I'm not nearly I never was discouraged about it, but when you look back at the film, it doesn't look nearly as bad as what it is. But it'd be one thing if we were like the Broncos, who are a good team. But like if we were winning close games every week against bad teams, we've only had 2 close games that are wins against bad teams. One was the Titans with Davis Mills on the road division game. And then this was the Raiders at home. And so I mistakenly just looked at it. Oh, they're the worst team. It'll be a cakewalk, not factoring in that their defense really isn't that bad. And, their defense looks worse because of their offense. They had fired Chip Kelly, and then when Geno was healthy under Chip, without Chip, they've been better. The last game they had 75 yards was because they had Kenny Pickett playing against the Eagles. So, but as far as the Texans against the Raiders, offense, I don't think it looked as bad as what it was when you look at the film, particularly like Stroud. Like it was not his best game, and started off sluggish. But a lot of the throws that you look at from the TV or the stadium, at first glance, you're like, "Oh, what a terrible throw!" He was wildly off. Like most of them were throwaways. There was 2 that were bad throws, and then there was like 4 or 5 other ones that looked like bad throws that were throwaways, and they're throwaways because the pressure got there, or throwaways because that combined with the routes. I mean, I feel like the receivers getting open is an issue outside of Nico and Schultz. And the Raiders too, going into the game, I looked at it like they were pretty much ran cover 3 at the highest rate. And I was like, okay, they're just going to come out and run cover 3. They changed their game plan. They hardly ran cover 3 from what I've been seeing. They ran 2-man. They did drop back and run man, 2-man, but they would only rush 4 most of the time. And the pressure would get there with 4, which is concerning. But a lot of it wasn't really, maybe then a couple where Stroud, misread the play and maybe got confused, but most of it was just guys not getting open and him not having enough time. And then outside of that, it wasn't that bad. So, so I'm not really stressing on it. And then as far as the defense, again, on both of them, Azeez being gone was a massive piece in the Raiders game. Not only from his physical play, but being the green dot wearer where he gets people lined up, also a motivator, and can, get people lined up not only from like the initial play call, but when it's quick and frantic. Obviously Henry toe gave up the big touchdown to Ashton Jeanty. I don't know that Azeez does that. And then they had another big play on a run to him, which Henry and Miles Bryant were involved in. So There was a lot of too where they were getting Kalen Bullock down in the box, but then that now put Miles Bryant at the high safety, which is a concern there. So I think it just depends, week to week and personnel and matchup. So I would expect the Chargers to do some of that, run that heavy personnel to try and get Bullock in the box and have Miles Bryant back there. But a big thing too, as far as GT and the rush yardage was, the interior D line depth that we've sustained injuries to Mario Edwards Jr. and Tim Settle Jr. kind of caught up to us. So they tried to fill the void by playing Tommy Togiai and Sheldon Rankins more. And then you had guys like Marlon Davidson and then Danico Autry, who's really an edge and just a pass rusher on third downs on the inside, play more defensive tackle. And that's where it mostly killed us when Danico was asked to try and be a run stuffing defensive tackle, which he's not. And then Marlon Davidson, same thing, trying him to do better than what he was. So I'm not too concerned going forward with the signing of, I believe it's pronounced Leki or Lekai Fotu, massive human being. And he's finally like a big nose tackle that we've been needing. So he was just activated a minute ago to the 53-man or elevated. So I would expect him to come in and give us some good snaps there. Really not much to it. Hey, man, just plug the middle up. But yeah, so and I think, the other guy, Naquan Jones gave us some solid stuff there. So I think solidifying that will help. And then obviously Aziz will help. But I mean, we gave up 20 and 21 to, the Raiders and Cardinals. So you average 20.5 points per game. And that average would be like 23rd in the league as far as points. So like as bad as it seems, like our standard for our defense is so high that we feel like, oh, this defense sucks, but that's still like a top 10 defensive performance the past 2 weeks, as bad as it is. And really the Raiders game was this big play. So I'll get to some comments. Shout out Forrest McWhorter on Facebook. Brandon says I'm being kind of the Broncos. Yeah, I mean, because I'm aware of like I can't sit here and I can't say, hey, it's one game, NFL close games, Raiders, and then go on the other end and then shit on the Broncos for doing the same thing. But for me, it's the volume. Like if it's not happening as often, but I do think, they're a good team, but we're not dumb. If I went through the list the other day of the Broncos, they beat like Marcus Mariota. They beat, I forget the guy's even name with the Chiefs last week. We beat Cam Ward. They beat Cam Ward. They beat Kenny Pickett for one, Geno Smith for another. Who else did they beat? They beat, the list of quarterbacks that they beat is like not very impressive. And not only that, but like, they beat them in like close games. Like we beat bad teams or bad quarterbacks like, Cooper Rush, but we went by 34 points. So that's the difference there. So, and let's see here. Forrest says, what a season so far. Not worried about the Raiders game. It's the NFL any given Sunday. Our expectations are high because we know we have a badass team. We will take this win from Harbaugh and Herbert tomorrow for show. BLESSAN. Love it. Said not from the stead on YouTube, bro. I watched it back and their DC definitely knew what we were doing early downs and they were in New England. Yeah, so I noticed that in the film too. Their DC, like, they basically came out all year and just did vanilla, and then they actually game planned us. It's like Pete Carroll had less influence and Patrick Graham, their defensive coordinator, had more influence. And yes, that's a good point. He was in there with Nick Caley in New England. He kept talking about it all week in his pressers, how he's familiar with all those guys, Caley, Shaplinski. And I noticed that too early on in the game. Like they were just jumping plays like left and right. It's like, man, like they know the plays. And I don't know if it's tendencies or just the scheme, like saying from the Patriots, or maybe it's verbiage or signals, but like they were on it early. And yeah, like a lot of those throws by Stroud may be frustrating in the moment. You go back and look at it and, it's funny, like, a lot of us are like, you watch Mills come in, go 3-0 and like, okay, Stroud needs to take away from his game. He needs to learn that, hey, you have the best defense in the league and stop being so risky and taking sacks. And that's what he's done and not turn the ball over. But now that he does it, I did think that maybe there is like a fine balance. Like maybe he might be overdoing it a little bit, but when I rewatched the film of the Raiders game, he understood like, okay, we got our defense versus their offense. We got a 7-point lead spotted to us by Derek Stingley Jr. on that insane pick six. And so, that's smart. And then when he had to make the plays, he was clutch as hell. Like the last couple drives were awesome. But now it's like, he can't win. It's like throw to Nico, don't throw to Nico. Or, the point about being a game manager, so to speak. And then when he does, like, oh, he doesn't take any risks. Why don't you just like, well, like, what do you want him to do? He's doing what you said and it's worked and he's winning. He's 4-0. I mean, come on, dude. And then Brandon says we have to keep overreacting to every CJ throw, but I get he's got to be perfect for the most part because play calling. Not even that. I mean, like, the big thing for me that is frustrating, like, I get the criticisms, but it's like, bro, like, could you imagine if this fan base was a fan of if the Broncos were us, how livid this fan base would be? We would be tearing this team apart and they would be the number 1 seed. I mean, they do deserve more criticism, but like, we're getting that and then some as a 10-5 team who's overcome a lot. And all 5 of our losses are 1-score games in the final seconds against playoff teams. Have had no bad losses, no bad games. You take care of all your business. You have only a couple of wins that are, low score or, low wins over bad teams. It's just like, come on, man. Like, but yeah, Stroud, like, he's playing like you look at Herbert on the flip side. Herbert's getting praised like this and that, and their offense is the same as ours, bro. Like, yeah, his stats are a little bit better. He's played more games than Stroud, but like points per game are like the same. And Stroud and Herbert has had some bad games. That game against the Eagles, he was terrible. And he's had the Chiefs, they win 13-10 or whatever it was, and no one's talking about, we beat the Chiefs 20-10. Everyone's bitching about Stroud and how he sucks. No, he played a great game. Just because we didn't score 40 freaking points. Like, oh, yeah, we won, but Stroud sucked. Like, no, dude. And no one's saying that shit about Herbert. Like, we got to stop with this shit, dude. Like, he's winning games. Like, he understands. He's playing to win the game. Do you want him to throw for more yards? Okay, we can do that. He can take sacks and throw picks, and we can fucking lose. Like, and then you'll be happy? Like, which one is it? Do you want to fucking win? Or do you want to sit here and it's this fantasy football shit, dude. It's ruined football. Like, the sooner we realize how this team is constructed, the sooner you will be less frustrated about wins. This is how DeMeco Ryan wants to win, and it's smart. He has built an elite defense. He is the head coach. He's built this through a defense. Everybody wants offense. Well, guess what? This is a fucking defensive-led team. And look at all these Super Bowl winners of past years. All these Chiefs runs the past 3-4 years for the most part, besides like the first couple runs for the Chiefs, those were offensive because of Mahomes. And people just like assume that every run after that is because of Mahomes. It hasn't. They've been a defensive-led team. The Eagles last year, defensive-led team. Buccaneers, Brady, defensive-led team. You go back and look at all these playoff runs, all these Super Bowl teams, their Super Bowl-led teams are by the defense. And that's the way we're built. But like, we're going to sit here and nitpick about, like, I could see us making a run and Stroud only throwing for 200 yards, 150 yards. Like, oh, yeah, we won, but Stroud didn't play well. Like, when are we going to stop with this shit, dude? Like, at a certain point, playing quarterback is more than just airing it out and throwing for touchdowns and as many yards as you can. It's about managing the game, having a feel for the game, knowing when to take risks and not to take risks. And that's what he did in the Raiders game. He was super, super conservative early, kept throwing the ball away. Anytime he felt any kind of pressure, didn't want to take sacks and lose field position. And then later in the game, when things tightened up, he started making plays. So it's like, I get some of the frustrations, but it's just being overdone. So Forrest says, how are we feeling about Ursary coming back this season? Seems like a baller to me. Yeah, Ursary breaking his hand, getting surgery and getting a metal plate put in it and being questionable for the game is insane. Giovanni says, I'm not too thrilled about not addressing the safety position. Yeah, Jalen Reed posted he might be coming back soon, so hopefully that comes to fruition. Forrest, losing Settle is bigger than most give credit. I agree. Shout out Omar Villarreal, BLESSAN, Brandon, Justin Fields. Yeah, they beat Justin Fields. I mean, look at the Broncos schedule, dude. Brandon, they knew because Devin White was looking like all pro. Said CJ's legs will unlock this offense in the playoffs. Remember, I said it here. Yeah, I agree. And he's probably toned that back a little bit. He could have ran a lot more against the Raiders, but I mean, given the concussion. But in this Chargers game, just like the Chargers game last year, I'll get to it, but he's going to have to use his legs some. JJ Sugar, gambling becoming mainstream is the worst thing to happen to sports. I don't disagree with that. JJ says people can't enjoy their team winning in any way possible. Facts. Shout out Dime628 on YouTube says, what up? Okay. And then, yep. So let me get to some IG comments, my guys on IG. Let me shout y'all out real quick. Rich M says, hey, what else we got? Joseph, H-Town baby, Antho, what's good? Who else we got? Jacada, my guy. He says, not scared of anyone with our defense. CJ is our guy. Facts. And then we got HTX Blakes. What are some keys to winning this game? It's a typical Texans game. I'll get to it, but obviously protecting the ball, trying to run the ball. Red zone. Joseph, touchdowns. Yeah, touchdowns is definitely rich him. I definitely respect how Tarball turned them around. Yep, I agree. Jacadon, we stopped the run game and get pressure on Herbert's over. Facts, I agree. Shout out Kushtover. He says off schedule big chunk plays will be a huge factor this game. Yeah, I agree with that. And then Sonny Boy Armstrong, Henry is a liability in coverage. Yep. I think he's done some good stuff like over the middle. But that play that he gave up to Genty, you can tell he was squatting. It was cover one, safety help in the middle of the field. He was squatting like on a his 3rd and 8, like a slant route, and gambled and didn't work. And then the effort afterwards was inexcusable to not chase him down. Miles Bryant got trucked. Music That's Fire says, what a wonderful position to be in, to be mad as hell at letting the Raiders get 21 versus us, even though we won. People forget we started 0-3 and literally once before has a team never returned from that. Yeah, since 2018, the Texans also did it. Sammy Franco, Patriots had the same amount of wins against plus 500 teams as the Giants. That's crazy. Music That's Fire. Something else that makes me feel better about that fat-ass Genty TD is that it happened while Williamson Jr. wasn't on the field. If he was out there, Genty wouldn't have been able to break free for a big play. Yeah. And then, like, you factor all that in with, like, okay, I know we sit here and say it's a trap game, sleeper game, don't sleep on them. As much as you say it and do it, like, you can't help but natural psychology, human nature, like, you're going to let down a little bit. Like, even in the game, like, as a fan, like, I walk in the stadium, it's like, it's the Raiders. Like, I'm not nearly as excited as I was, say, for the Bills game or the Chiefs game. Like, for those games, I'm like, let's go. Or, like, even now for the Chargers, like, Raiders, Cardinals, and then, like, it's just weird. Like, even though you're winning and controlling the game, you're kind of like, and, like, even if they had won 40-40, be like, oh, whatever, it's the Raiders. Like, you can't. It's the same thing for the players. You can't sit there and say that that's not a factor. And so you can tell, like, they didn't really have that fire. But then once the game got tight, that's when guys kind of stepped up. And then they scored the touchdown late. Like, that was like a let up, like, whatever play. I mean, I'm not tripping about it at all. So shout out Steve Pinson on Facebook, WBO official on YouTube. Fake Texans fans want insane results from CJ, but they don't want to win. It's funny. I mean, I understand, like, the frustrations, but, like, you got to keep perspective, man. Amon Marble, what up? What's up, brother? Will Monroe on X. If Herbert can play with a broken hand, then so can Ursery. Yes and no. I mean, one is a quarterback, his non-throwing hand, so barely even uses that hand, and one's a lineman blocking freak athletes. So, I mean, he's going to get a club on, so I think he can go. He's questionable, and so that'll be obviously Trent Brown is out, so 1, potentially 2 tackles out. And I'm not, if Ursery can play, great. If he plays and he struggles or he can't go, it sounds like Fisher just going to go left tackle because that's what happened during the game, I believe. Titus kicks back out to right tackle. I feel good about that. I think Fisher can give us enough. You could see it the other way. You could see Titus at left and Fisher at right, but it seems like it'll be Fisher at left and Titus at right if Ursery can't go. But I don't feel terrible about it. It is what it is. Ursery's been great. He's kind of been up and down, but overall he's been solid. So, that this is a moment where you're like, man, it would be nice to have tackle depth. We traded Austin Deculus to the Chargers, who's probably going to play against us now. That'll be nice for us. And then Cam Robinson, he's a guy that basically we did him a favor, trade him away because he wanted to get a chance to play. Like, we could use him right now. So that's a very critical thing to question Nick Cayley for, or Nick Casario for. Corey Miller off topic, but how do I get your all 22 film? It's a NFL Pro. You can get or NFL Plus or Pro. You can get a subscription to it. I pay for it and check it out. So I post a lot of clips on X. The offense closed out the last 2 games. Says Sammy, yep. He says a wacky year. And then, yes, I didn't really quite fully finish my rant there, but I'm glad to hear a lot of y'all in here are agreeing with what I'm saying, man. And it's just like with some people, you just can't win. Like, the more you get into this stuff, the more you realize, like, people just don't want to be satisfied. And it's constant goalpost moving. Like, this gets corrected. Well, no, this. Well, no, this. Well, no, that. Like, you realize, like, I can't, in your eyes, I can't win with you. So, like, whatever. If you want to think whatever you want to think it. But, like, here's what it is. So But yeah, so if y'all are just tuning in, I'm having a watch party myself and some other Texans content creators tomorrow at Carbach Brewery. Y'all come through, man. It's going to be great. Last year, hosted a couple that had, roughly 300 plus at both of them. This one is a big outdoor venue. It can hold up to 3,000 people. So I'm trying to get as many people as there as I can. They got a big stage with projector, covered area. Weather should be great. Family friendly, kid friendly, pet friendly. If you want to have like a table for like a vendor for a small business, whether it's like cookies or some kind of snacks, as long as it's not like food that competes with them, or if you have like a roofing business or something and you want to come out and hand out brochures, by all means, feel free to do so. Just hit me up on a DM or email me info@houstonstressans.com. Let's see. And then do I have seats near the DJ booth? I'm in section 354. Sammy says Ariante won't get called for any holds. That is true. He better not. And then Amon says, can the O-line stay healthy enough to make an AFC championship? I think so. I mean, I think they can still win with that iteration, honestly. And then JJ, I really feel like we are about to see another special defensive performance this weekend from our team. Chargers will do their thing too, but I'm rooting for CJ to get his on them. And then Tay713 says, unfortunately, but fortunately, Will Anderson Jr. has to stop being game plan for us, so he's got to go above and beyond to get himself in the mix. But Will is a effing dog. He forces offenses to change their plan. Yep. Golden Scholar. Well, this is a nice surprise. Hello, Golden Scholar. Yeah, man, it's been a while. El Heist. Nah, bro, I need CJ touchdowns for my parlay. Yeah, back. Forrest. Honestly, so many people have PTSD since O'Brien. Yeah, that's true. I mean, I get it. I do. I get it and understand it, but it's still frustrating. And so, yeah, let's just dive into. Yeah, right now my kids are home, so if my daughter comes walking in or makes noise, apologize in advance. I got about an hour total, so I'm just gonna try and spend time on the Chargers game here because obviously this is a big one. You win, you clinch a playoff berth. Whereas on the other side, there is left to be desired for the Chargers, but not quite as much. But they are still alive for the division and higher playoff seeding, so they will be motivated to win as well. They clinched their playoff berth last week. I believe if they win out, they can still win the division over the Broncos because I believe they play them next week. And then as far as, I could be wrong in that, just speaking off the dome right now, but as far as the Texans, we have a very high chance to make the playoffs. Obviously, if we win, we're in. If not, the only way we can't make the playoffs is if we were to lose it to the Colts. So that would mean that we would have to lose both of our games, this game against the Chargers, next game against the Colts, and then the Colts would have to win both of their games. They would have to win Sunday against the Jaguars and then beat us as well in Houston. And then on top of that, like it's crazy. Like the tiebreaker goes head to head, which we would tie head to head, and then it would be division record, which if we were to tie, if it goes how I said it would go, we would tie on that. And then the third one would be I forget all. There's a third one. It goes to like the fourth or fifth, but then like the last one that it would come to would be strength of victory within, I don't know if it's overall or within the AFC. Also be a tie. And then it would be strength of victory. And, that's where we're like still very high to win because our, common, I don't know if it's common opponents or, yeah. So, okay, let me start over. So it's head to head, and then it's division, tie, and then it's common opponents. That would be a tie. And then it would be, I believe, strength of victory. And then I think that's where we would more than likely get it because we've beaten the Broncos, the Bills, those two teams we've beaten that they also beat the Broncos. So the Bills one would be huge for us. But anyways, like it's a very unlikely scenario, but regardless, we need to win the game. I get a headache just thinking about it. So, but yeah, so Tay says, I think the Colts can pull it off against the Jags this week. What sucks about this is if we win, the Colts are done. So now they're not motivated, but now they're playing the Jags, I believe, at home, and we need them to win for us. So then if we win and the Jags lose to the Colts, then we're now in first of the division. But, hopefully they have nothing to play for, but they somehow find a way to win. But I think they can play them tough. Like the Colts, they've shown some stuff with Phillip Rivers, man. So anyhow, but let me see what I was going to get to on the game. Like, yeah, just my general thoughts. I was looking last night, like, here's my general thoughts and we'll dive in. I'll kind of retouch on some points, but it comes off as two very similar teams. I know Jim Harbaugh is an offensive coach, but to me, he comes off as a defensive coach, like the old school conservative. He wants to run the ball and lean on his defense. Miko Ryans, he wants to run the ball and lean on his defense. They both want to take care of the ball, play field position, and they're a defensive-led team. We're a defensive-led team. Their offense has struggled. Our offense has struggled. They've had a bunch of injuries and struggles on their O-line. We've had some pretty significant, especially going into this game, some injuries and struggles on our O-line, even though they've been better than what most people think. And so that's it. And then, like, a key for us will be, we're an inside running team, but we need to attack them on the edges. We need to run out of shotgun. We'll see. Like, I was looking at the stats on here that'll show it. And we need CJ Stroud to make some plays with his feet. Both defenses are not going to blitz a lot. They're only going to rush 4, have good tight zone coverage. We may run our game plan may be different, but as far as the Chiefs defense, they will rush 4, and that's what the Raiders did, and they were getting pressure. So 1, we need to scheme guys open. 2, they need to get open. And then if they do drop in coverage and guys aren't getting open, Stroud needs to, someone said it earlier, extend the play, which we saw a couple times against the Raiders, escape the pocket, or just take off and run and get yards and kind of, take advantage of that. But that'll be a big thing. And then when you do get man, they're going to double Nico. Nico's been getting doubled. And so that'll leave some other guys with more opportunities. So other guys need to step up. It's really been Nico. Nico gets doubled, we throw to Schultz. Outside of that, there's no chemistry, no trust with Higgins, Kirk, whoever else is out there, Hutch. So those guys need to step up for us. And, whether that's CJ or them not getting open, I'm watching the Raiders tape, feels like guys just aren't getting open for the most part. So we need someone else besides Nico and Schultz to step up. In run game, it's going to be boring. You got to stick with it. We need boots, play actions on the move. And then on their side, they're actually pretty bad at running inside the tackles. And so obviously we struggled last week, but I think with, Fotu that we just added, I think that can help us solidify our interior run defense. And Aziz obviously will definitely help that as well. So their game plan is going to be to run outside the tackles. They're actually a really good outside the tackles rushing team. And Herbert, him running the ball, that's what they've been doing. That's what they need to do. So, but what I see our defense doing is the same game plan we ran against the Bills and Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. And we ran literally almost every play, cover 1, and Aziz on some of those plays was just a spy watching Justin Herbert. And so now you got to I feel confident in our one-on-one. So now our rush and coverage can complement each other. The coverage, have enough plays where you're forcing Herbert to hold on the ball and allow the pass rush to get there. Other plays when you're still rushing 4, pressure get there where they may get beat. And they talk about a cage rush where you kind of cage in the quarterback. Everyone's staying in their lanes, not just guys rushing here and rushing there and leaving rushing lanes for Justin Herbert, which we did great against Josh Allen. We took away those and he had no idea what to do. So I see a similar game plan as that. And I see us doing really well on defense. And knowing and we're going against a beat up offensive line. It's already been beat up. They've been missing their Pro Bowl tackle Joe Alt, who is a Pro Bowler for playing 6 fucking games. How the fuck does that happen? Which Jalen Petrie is the 5th alternate, and the excuse is because he missed 3 games, and he got snubbed on that because I think he is so invaluable and so versatile that he plays such a amorphous position, if that's a word, that it hurts him because he's so versatile. He's like a safety, corner, linebacker, or if he was just a safety or just a corner or just a linebacker, he'd be a no-doubter, but people just don't understand his position. Same thing, Kalen Bullock got snubbed. Kamari Lassiter got snubbed. And then who else did we have that got snubbed? It was good that Aziz got it. Nico got it. Will got it. Daniil got snubbed. So, I mean, it's just a joke, the Pro Bowl in general anyways. But I forgot my point I was going there. But so Texans defense, you need to have a cage rush, try and contain Justin Herbert. And, yeah, he's playing through a hurt hand, and we hit hard. So it's going to be a long day, man. And, yeah, so it's going to be we say this every week, but the game plan is lean on the defense. I can already see it now. This game will be just like the Chiefs game, a defensive battle. And CJ Stroud throwing the ball away, but people thinking that he's missing throws, but he's actually throwing it away. They're going to be crying about how much he fucking sucks and this and that. And we can win the game 20-10, and people are still going to bitch after the fucking game. Like, hey, the goal is to win the game. It doesn't matter how. So that is the game plan. That's how I see it being a low scoring game. Both coaches understand that. Our offense needs to play conservative. Like, I know it's going to be annoying to see these runs get stuffed, but like, don't lose the game on offense. Look at the game last year against the Chargers in the playoffs. That's exactly how we played. We ended up scoring 30-plus points. Offense wasn't, they were conservative, settling for field goals and not a lot of big plays, but the defense gave you chances over and over and over again and allowed you to finally break through. So it'll be a similar recipe to me in that sense. And let's see. Feels like who's a rookie running back is a better type of game this week. So they got Amari and Hampton back. He's definitely a challenge, but I feel like some people saw that performance from Genty. Part of it is I think Genty's obviously better than Omarion, who Omarion's still a great back, but, no Aziz, injury to the interior D-line, not getting up for the game. People assume that Omarion can get the same production. I don't think that he will. And it's a different O-line as well. Sauce is set to return Sunday. That'll be nice. Denzel Ward over Lassiter is crazy work. Facts. Tay without Aziz as that glue holding this defense together out there. They're looking like they were looking over like overused Velcro. Steve Pinson, I hope he missed Pro Bowl and goes Super Bowl after seeing Broncos Patriots. We can get to AFC. Facts. I agree. And so shout out my guy Tony. He says O'Brien's offense was more prolific. We're not even a full year in, so but O'Brien was definitely an underrated play caller for sure. And then HTS official, CJ always plays his best football under the most pressure. If defense gets stops, I promise CJ will get this game. Facts. And so let me just go through. We'll go to I'll just go to their, let's see. Let's just look at the Chargers, NFL. Let me share the screen. Let me see. Share screen, ESPN. And yeah, if you want to re-listen, Spotify, Apple, Second Guessing with Stressans is the name of the podcast. Obviously, it's not much time between now and the game, but I will upload it then. Where's this going? I'm trying to go to the NFL scores. Let's go here to the Chargers. Let's go to the Chargers schedule first. Like, let's see what they've done this year. This shit's glitching. All right, so their last game, they were playing for a clincher in the playoffs, and they beat the Cowboys. They started out losing this game, and they buttoned it up, but they were down 17-14 late in the first half, and then they got a touchdown before half. So this was a close game, and then they ended up winning by a couple scores. But late in the game, I was looking at the play-by-play, and obviously I watched the game, but it was closer than it looked. I think it was a 7-point game, and the Cowboys missed a fourth down conversion late in the game at the Chargers 16, a 4th and 1, and that's the game right there. So this was a tight game. It wasn't just the final score is 14 points, but this was a tight game. And then they had a fumble again. They had a turnover on downs, field goal, turnover on downs, touchdown, fumble. So they had multiple turnover on downs. The Cowboys did, and a fumble in a one-score game that made it go higher. So. But anyways, back to the schedule, this full schedule for the Chargers. They won that against them. And then the Chiefs game, they won 16-13. Do you think their fan base was freaking out in a win against the Chiefs where Mahomes got hurt on the last drive? Were they freaking out saying Justin Herbert sucks, he's ass, he's terrible, we only won 16-13, he only threw for 210? No, they weren't, And so Stroud played better than that and won by more, and he was getting, crucified for it. So, and then they had a win against the Eagles, which the Eagles, I think they're good and haven't been playing as good as what they are lately, but they're a weird team. But this game was ugly. This game was so ugly, dude. They should have lost this game. They got gifted the game by Hurts late in the game on a pick. It should have never went to overtime. But Herbert didn't have a great game. He was 12 of 26 for 139 yards. Like, come on, dude. So, we could have him in the same performance, 59.6 rating. Like, why wouldn't the Texans do the same performance to him, Sorry, I was kind of getting happy there and clicked on some stuff. Let's see. Yeah, and then he ran the ball 10 times for 66 yards. So I'm fine with him, having to earn hard-earned yards on the ground, and that's not sustainable in my opinion. But this game, let's see, it was a bunch of turnovers on both sides. Let's see how it kind of got down the wire. Philadelphia's up late, 16-13, and then it's 16-16, and then they go up 19-16, and they get a last-second field goal to tie it. Goes to overtime. Chargers get a field goal last drive in overtime. The Eagles are driving already in field goal range, and Hurts throws a pick. So I mean, these things matter when you go back and look at. Sorry, I was kind of sharing that. I guess y'all couldn't see it, but y'all heard my voice on that. So, anyways, and then the Raiders, they beat 31-14. They got stomped by the Jags 35-6. Beat the Steelers, beat the Titans by 7, beat the Vikings, lost to the Colts by 14, beat the Dolphins by 2, lost to Washington by 17, lost to the Giants by 3, beat Denver by 3, beat the Raiders by 11, beat Kansas City by 6. I mean, okay, yeah, like good team. I'm not going to crown them as this, terrifying elite team. So that definitely matters when you're looking at it. And let's just look at from the PFF perspective as far as the layouts go. PFF, NFL scores, and we'll share this tab instead. Let's see. Lou, didn't the Broncos beat the Texans in Houston? Yes, they did. They beat Davis Mills barely. So congrats to the Broncos on that. The Texans and Chargers almost feel like the same kind of team. Will be a great test. I agree 100%. That's exactly what I'm thinking, Scholar. So as far as PFF goes, again, this is just like overall metrics, but according to their system, which I think is through grades, we're the 5th overall team in power rankings, and they're 9th. Our defense is 1st. Theirs is 10th. Our offense is 19th. Theirs is 13th, which I agree with this. Like, I think we're roughly 5th and they're roughly 9th. I think our defense is way better, but theirs is good. I think that their offense is average and ours is slightly below average. That checks out. Strength of schedule, ours is slightly tougher. But yeah, so just going to lineup. So, there's like crazy numbers we'll see in the NFL Pro preview, but they had their last game, like all kind of different, personnel packages and groupings and formations, throwing a lot of different, creativity at you on the offensive side of the ball. But just looking at their, let's go to injuries here. See summary. It should show us injuries. So Texans, Jake Hansen hit IR, Tim Settle, obviously. Trent Brown's out, and then Ursher is questionable. Justin Watson will not play. As far as for them, I mean, Najee Harris is out. Vidal is probably out with a neck, who's a pretty good back, but then they got Amari and Hampton back, so it's pretty much him and nobody. Their tackle Sawyer is out. Denzel Perryman, a starting linebacker, got suspended for 2 games. He is out. Tier Tart, questionable. I think I can go look up on Twitter. I forgot to post that right there. Let me look up their injury report. They had it the other day. Just show this real quick to show who's officially out. Let's see if I can find it real quick. Just give me a second while I scroll. It was Houston game status. Okay. All right. Here we go. Let me share this. So Mekhi Becton is questionable, who seems like he's been underwhelming for them this year. RJ Mickens, I believe he may be a backup safety, out. Sawyer is out. Hey, Kendall. Oh, okay, that's fine. My daughter's playroom is right here, so she's getting a toy. Let's see here. And then Tier Tart, former Texan, questionable. We talked about Vidal. And then Benjamin St. Juste is a backup corner. He's out. When they had their starting corner is playing, what's his name again? Where's he at? Dante Jackson. So he's his backup. Dante Jackson got hurt last game, but he's playing. And then, yes, I mean, they're pretty beat up as we are. But as far as our end goes, we get Aziz back. Danico Autry just rested like a vet. He'll be fine. Trent Brown obviously out. We have Ursary questionable, obviously. Jamal Hill's out, backup special team linebacker. Darrell Taylor is questionable. Both of those guys are ruled out today. So, I mean, we're relatively healthy. Woody Mark's back. That's a big thing, too. He wasn't there against the Raiders. And so, yeah, that's pretty much it on there. But let's just go look at PFF, like the lineups, just to kind of give us a visual. The receivers, Quentin Johnston, having a better year, but I'm still not sold on the guy as being a stud. We shut him down last year. Ladd, stud, tore us up last year. I know a lot of it was on one big play on a crazy catch on, a 3rd and long, but still, someone to look out for. Trey Harris, haven't really watched him in depth, but I mean, you're hearing how good he's doing. I'm not like, from what I have watched, I'm not like thinking he's like a world beater. I think he's solid, but we'll see how it goes. And then Gadsden's a pretty good rookie tight end, so that'll be a challenge there. Herbert, good quarterback playing well. Vidal is out, so this will be Hampton. That's an upgrade, but there's no depth. And then the O-line, Sawyer's out. Penning has been playing as their they've been running a lot of heavy package. Trevor Penning is terrible. Bozeman's a center, not very good. Mekhi Becton, even when he is playing, not playing very good. I wanted us to sign him. I'm glad we didn't. And then Bobby Hart is another tackle playing for him. So they got their work cut out for him. That's an 11 personnel. But Keenan Allen obviously is on their team and not showed on here, and he is their 3rd down machine. Will Disley, another tight end they can throw out there. Let me see what it is in 2 running back sets. They run a lot of fullbacks with Matlock. He's kind of like their Swiss Army knife. So, it's going to be – and even D'Amico in one of his pressers, I think it was with John Harris and Vandermeer, he's like, this is going to be a quick game. Like, he said it himself. Damn, I just realized my shit is not charging. Hold on one second. I forgot I packed my bag to go somewhere and took my charger and didn't put it into my dock. I got to hurry up and get this in before this thing dies, dude. All right, let's see here. Oh, this is great content, guys. Great content here. All right, let's see. I just don't want it to die. Are we charging? Please be charging. All right. Okay, we're charging. Good deal. All right, so back to lineups with PFF. We'll do the flip side. We'll do our defense versus their offense, or their defense versus our offense. Tony Jefferson, safety, solid safety. Molden, did we say he's hurt? No, he's not. Seems like, again, PFF grades, we'll look at them. We're kind of, especially certain positions, they're pretty whack. Like Stingley, they got him graded like terrible, but then they brag about how he's the best corner in the league. Their corners, Cam Hart, nothing scary there. Other corner, Tarheeb Still. I mean, I don't know. I mean, Derwin James is a stud. He's like a Jalen Petrie, in that nickel safety linebacker role. So they do run a 3-4 with Jesse Minter, Khalil Mack, solid, so that'll be a challenge. Thule, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but he's having a great year for them. That can be a challenge for us. See Deshaun Hand on the interior, seems decent. They traded for Owe from the Ravens. And he's been playing good since then, but he was a non-impact when he played us on the Ravens. That could be the scheme. You've been watching me on the phone? Yeah. Make a comment so I can reply to you. Go make a comment. My daughter said she's watching me on the phone in the other room. But yeah, so let's see. We'll go to base, see what that changes. So this is their base 3-4. We'll probably see a lot of this. I mean, we run a lot of 11 personnel, but we have been mixing in heavy packages. But when it's 3-4, that'll bring in their nose tackle Caldwell, Jamari Caldwell, and Tier Tart will also be in there. So we'll see a lot of different players in this game in different spots. Dayon Henley, their linebacker, not graded very well, but I think he's a decent player. Troy Dye, obviously we mentioned Denzel Perriman hurt. So enough with that. We'll go to, that's the film. Let me go to NFL Pro. We'll share this tab instead. Yeah, Broncos fans are tripping. I haven't checked IG in a minute. Let me get back to there. Let's see. How y'all doing on IG? All right, we're all good there. Let's see here. Okay. I'll just go back and maximize this screen. We'll go to Chargers, Texans. And so if we go to matchup comparison, so I was looking at this last night, but both teams are great pass defenses, particularly deep passing. So, we're both like 1 and 2 in deep passing, and our offenses are both terrible deep passing. It's pretty much, you'll see it's a mirror image. Immediate passing, they're number 1, but we're number 6. So we'll have to work our intermediate passing. Short passing, we're 13th or 22nd. So short to intermediate passing, quick game. Quick game is going to be our bread and butter. Long passing, not great. So deep passing, long passing. Passing versus no blitz, we're pretty good. We're 11th or 8th. So that matches up well for us because they plan not to blitz. And so it's kind of, and everything else is kind of, if you look at just this snapshot here, as far as passing, like look at these stars, they have 1 5-star, 1 3-star. We got a couple 2 and 1, and then theirs is all 1 and then a 2. And then you look at ours is like 5 5 4 4 4 4 4 4 4. Like our defense is the difference. Our defense advantage versus their offense, as opposed to their defense versus our offense, is the difference. That's kind of like the Chiefs. I mean, same thing, dude. But yeah, so quick passing will be the way in the pass game. And a lot of that too is through tempo. When you get like a first down, tempo into quick game, get them on their heels and hit a quick pass. Rushing, they'll have more of the advantage as far as defense versus offense. So under center, obviously we're 31st, they're 4th. Inside the tackles, even though that's our identity, rushing inside the tackles, we're 26th, they're 2nd. Red zone, we're 31st, they're 8th as far as their defense. Stack box, 32nd versus 8th. Design runs, 30 versus 9. And so rushing and shotgun, we're 8th, they're 16th. So that's an area that we can exploit. Outside the tackles, we're 22nd, they're 21st. So run the ball out of shotgun outside the tackles. That's what that tells me. And so QB scrambles, we're 10th, they're 8th. So, and QB scrambles. So that's what I said earlier. That's kind of, and it checks out because they drop back and they give you, a little bit of cushion. So, and as far as their offense versus our defense outside the tackles, they're number 2, we're 23rd. So they're going to try to exploit that as well. Scrambles, they're number 5 for QB scrambles. We're 30th. So they had the same game plan. Shotgun, they had the same game plan. They're number 1 rushing. Our defense is number 22. So it's like the exact mirror image for both sides of the ball for both teams. And then inside the tackles, they're 29th, we're 5th. So like they suck at rushing inside the tackles and we're good at stopping it. So like this is just crazy, the similarities here. But yeah, so just we'll go through some of these. There were some good insights. It talks about Will and Daniil having at least 1 sack in 11 games since becoming teammates in 2024, the most by any teammate duo in the NFL in that span, and tied with Chargers duo Leslie O'Neal and Chris Mims for most by any duo in their first 2 seasons. So they can break that. Let's see. This is crazy. CJ Stroud has won at least 4 games in a season for the first time in his NFL career. Each of the 2 times Stroud won at least 4 consecutive games in college. The streak was snapped by Jim Harbaugh in Michigan. Damn. And then it says the Texans are the only team Justin Herbert has faced in his career against whom he has thrown more interceptions than touchdowns. Herbert is 1 and 2 with 4 touchdown passes and 6 interceptions in 3 career games against the Texans, including the playoffs. Let's see what else we got. Herbert. So Stroud has completed 63.6% of his passes against man coverage this season, the 3rd highest rate among qualified quarterbacks, while averaging 7.4 yards per attempt. He has thrown 13 touchdowns against man coverage, the most without an interception this season. Stroud has fared worse against zone coverage, posting a 66.3% completion percentage, 9th lowest with just 3 touchdowns. And a lot of that, too, he's throwing the ball away, honestly. And all 6 of his interceptions. The Chargers have used zone coverage on 81.4% of their dropbacks this season, the 4th highest rate in the NFL. When doing so, they have allowed a 63.9% completion percentage. So, I mean, that basically talks about things we talked about earlier. Here's Herbert. He was pressured on 43.7% of his dropbacks this season, the highest rate in the NFL and highest of his career. Welcome to hell, Herbert. We've been there. He has faced 252 total pressures, 38 more than any other quarterback, and 104 quick pressures, making him the only quarterback to see triple-digit quick pressures this season. Herbert has also faced the 2nd most unblocked pressures. This was Stroud last year. Herbert has lost a total of 80.2 EPA on sacks this season, the 3rd most in the league. And so, that kind of indicates like there is pressure, but he's also doing what CJ has been prone to do prior, is, trying to make a bad situation worse by, trying to be Superman. And then here's the Texans. They have used zone coverage on 75.1% of their coverage dropbacks this season, 14th highest in the NFL. When in zone, they've allowed just 5.5 yards per play, second fewest. And they've recorded 14 interceptions, fourth most. And then Herbert has averaged 7.9 yards per attempt versus zone, 11th most, with the 71% completion percentage. And so, he's pretty good against zone. I think we're going to run man. I think it's literally the same game plan as the Bills and the Chiefs. Run cover one with the spy and do a cage rush. I'm not really particularly, scared of their receivers. It's just Ladd McConkey is the main one. Let's see. Yeah, so this is, the variety. The Chargers used 12 unique offensive personnel groupings in Week 16, the most by any offense in a game this season. Jumbo personnel, 6+ offensive linemen, accounted for 24.2% of their offensive snaps, 15 out of 62, with Trevor Penning serving as the swing tackle. That marked their second highest jumbo usage rate in a game this season, and a third straight game in which they used jumbo in at least 10% of snaps. Notably, the Chargers also ran 17 plays without a tight end on the field. So they went jumbo and then 4 or 5 wide. For the season, they have played 11.5% of their offensive snaps without a tight end. So they're just all kind of stuff. So you got to be on your P's and Q's, communication, alignment, assignment. Here's Hawk and Lock, Kamari and Sting. Stingley has allowed just 4.1 yards per target in zone coverage this season, the fewest among quarterbacks with 25 zone targets. And Kamari ranks just behind him at 4.4 yards, second fewest in that same group. That's insane. So they're, shut down, man, zone. Here is Jamari Sawyer, with Sawyer sidelined by a Week 16 injury. Deculus stepped in at left tackle, so we'll probably see him again, where he has already played a team-high 37.8% of the Chargers snaps this season. Deculus has allowed a 14.3% pressure rate this season, the second highest among left tackles with at least 200 pass block snaps. Oh, shit. And then it says Danielle Hunter has aligned at right edge on 66% of his offensive snaps this season, positioning him to frequently match up with Deculus. When aligned at right edge, Hunter has generated 42 pressures, 6 most, and 10 sacks. So you got Danielle Hunter, who is elite at right edge, going at Austin Deculus at left tackle, who is one of the worst. I mean, this should be a Danielle Hunter game. Will Anderson Jr. has generated a 28.3% pressure rate on third down this season, the highest among defenders with at least 75 third down pass rushes. Anderson Jr. has recorded a league high 43 pressures on third down this season, tied for the most in a single season since 2018, with 22 pressures coming in under 2.5 seconds, most in the NFL. His 6.5 sacks on third down are tied for second most, only behind Myles Garrett, who has 11. So, I know it is frustrating when we see him rotating so much and coming off the field, but you're keeping him fresh for the money downs, and he is coming through. So the philosophy works as far as the rotation. Omarion Hampton, they talk about him missing tackles, doing on a 32.7% of his carries this season, the highest rate in the NFL and the only markup among 30. It's at least 100 carries. So I think he's been injured, so it may be a smaller sample size, but he's still a tough tackle. So tackling is paramount again. Just want to make sure I don't read stuff that's not really pertinent here, but I don't want to sit here and just be quiet either. It talks about Will and Daniil and their pressures. And then it talks about Keenan Allen. He's their third down money guy, has accounted for 33.9% of the Chargers' third down targets this season, the third highest third down target share in the NFL. He has generated plus 25.7 receiving EPA on third downs, the third most in the league. His 18.8% success rate per route on third down also ranks second. So, I mean, if he's in the slot, put Petrie or Lassiter or even put Stingley or even put Bullock on him. It's third down. They're going to try to go to him. So let me get to some comments. Yeah, I just said that, Hermit. I would put Stingley on Ladd, or I would put him on Keenan too. I mean, I would definitely shadow at times, especially on money downs, dude. And Golden says, Broncos fans they're just crazy, dude. Herbert is going to have a bad day. D'Amico's defense is built for a certain type. Yeah, dude. I mean, you look at Allen. He's very similar to Allen lately in the sense that he's taller, physical, Uses his legs. I mean, similar to Mahomes in that regard too. Cray says, hi, Bolt fan here. I come in peace. Don't worry. I just somehow had this on my feed, and I guess I just want to hear from the Texans point of view. Yeah, man, that's dope. I mean, I love interacting with opposing fans. Let me know like your thoughts on the game, what the general consensus is from you guys. It should be a good game, man. I think it's a low scoring physical game for sure. Hermit, yeah, I answered that. And here we go. So like Dak there. Okay, here we go. Texans offense has recorded a 32% success rate on design runs. So we kind of went through that, like the run game part of it. Quentin Johnson has run a deep route on 23% of his routes this season, third highest rate among wide receivers. He's been targeted on 21% of his targets are deep. He's capitalized. He's caught 8 of 16 of those. So he's basically just a clear out guy, and it sounds like he'll throw him a deep ball here and there. Ursery and Blake Fisher. So Ursery has allowed a 7.9% pressure rate this season, 10th lowest among left tackles, and the 4th lowest by a rookie of his position since 2018. Minimum of 200 pass blocks. Fisher, who has primarily operated as a Texan swing tackle this season, has spent only 27.5% of his snaps as a primary offensive lineman. With Fisher potentially in the lineup, the Texans may be forced to abandon their jumbo formation, which they've used at the highest rate in the league, 17%. That is true and a good point. Justin Herbert has scrambled to run on 8.3% of his dropbacks this season, the 6th highest rate in the league. His total 428 yards, second most. So he runs a lot and he's good at it. That's, we know that. This talks about Nico. He's run in-breaking routes at the highest rate, 51%. And, last year he was 43.8, and he's got 567 yards. So, yeah, he's a deep middle, intermediate of the field in-breaker guy that is effective there. Herbert was pressured on 18 of 36 dropbacks in the Chargers' wild card loss to the Texans last season, completing only 3 of 14 passes when pressured. For 112 yards with 86 coming on a touchdown. Yeah, 86 on a touchdown on McConkey. That was like 3rd and forever, and 2 interceptions. Herbert faced 11 quick pressures, including 5 unblocked pressures, resulting in the 2nd highest quick pressure rate in any career regular or postseason game when not under pressure. So, and he had all the starters in too. So you would assume that we can at least replicate a similar result in this game. Let's see. Our Chargers fan says the entire year I've come into every game not expecting to win. So you can say that I'm genuinely impressed with how the season has went. Just going week by week, praying my QB doesn't die. LOL. Yeah, I feel like, as a Texans fan, that's kind of where we're similar teams, man. We kind of have the same approach. Like, and it's the NFL. Like every team, like especially like the good teams, they're all good, and it really is any given Sunday. And sometimes if you put too much expectations on your team, you kind of set yourself up. But this should be a good close game in my opinion. JJ says, wish we had Tank back, man. Nico been balling, but needs help because he gets bracket all the time. Same for Mixon. I agree, dude. I was kind of bummed at like how terrible our run blocking was against the Raiders. We didn't really give Jawar Jordan a chance to do anything, and he still had impressive runs. He had like 3 or 4 runs where he jukes a guy in the backfield and still gets 2 yards, 4 yards, 5 yards. Just give the guy a crease so we can hit it and go. And Chubb, I think Chubb is still effective too. So I'm excited to see how it's going to work with Woody back. Will we see more 2-back sets? Now that we potentially can't go heavy personnel, you can use 2 backs and maybe get creative. Kaylee seems to have some stuff that he kind of, rolls out later in the year. So maybe he's holding some stuff back, and maybe he has more, weapons at his disposal to do that. And that's a good rotation of, I know they're like, you could consider them like 3 mid backs, no like elite back. I'm not saying that's what I believe, but like, that's how people can see it. But if you can find a way to find a good mix of, Woody, Chubb, and Jawar, and getting them on the field at the same time and different, parts of the game, that can be an asset for us. Craze, the Chargers fan, says, I think we can all agree we don't want the Donkeys to have the first seed in the AFC West, so don't be afraid to give us the gimme. Hell no, man. No one's scared of the Broncos. They can have home field, bro. They barely beat the Giants at home with some crazy comeback. And so let's see here. Yeah, I don't know about the rushing attempts for Woody. I have no idea. We're going to run the ball a lot in general. That's a tough line there. And so here's Derwin James. He's blitzed on 12.8% of opposing dropbacks this season, the highest rate of his career. So he's kind of being used more as that Petrie role. Generated 15 pressures and 2 sacks. So, I mean, you got to look out for him, down the line of scrimmage. So spread that thing out. If he looks like he's blitzing, just throw a quick slant, turn around, catch the ball. And yeah, so this was what I was talking about earlier. When under pressure, CJ Stroud has most frequently targeted Nico Collins, 25 targets, and Schultz, 22 targets. Stroud has been most efficient when targeting Schultz under pressure, completing 81.8% of those attempts compared to just 50 when targeting Collins. That makes sense. One's you're throwing deep balls, the other one or someone running throwaways, and Schultz is more close to the line of scrimmage. But yeah, Schultz has been a great security blanket. Tuli Tuipulotu, probably butchered that, has generated 59 pressures this season, tied for the 10th most among all defenders this season with 27 more than the next closest Chargers offender, Khalil Mack. He's accounted for 25.1% of the total pressures his season. Of the Chargers total in his season, 6th highest pressure share in the NFL. So he's very vital to their pass rush. CJ Stroud has turned the ball over on just 1.4% of his pressured dropbacks this season, the second lowest rate among qualified quarterbacks. As if I was told that he, is reckless and turns the ball over and is terrible under pressure. From a decision-making standpoint, he has averaged 0.81 seconds to throw after the pressure. Oh, pressure? Throw it away. I mean, yes, dude. He's doing well. He's doing really good. The quickest mark of his career while averaging 8.4 air yards per attempt under pressure, the fewest of his career and the 5th fewest in the NFL. Stroud has also thrown the ball away on a career high 10.1% of his pressure dropback compared to his 7.1%. And, watching how data is charted, that 10.1% could very well be higher. Like a lot of these throws that don't look like throwaways are throwaways. So he's getting criticized for this, even though he was asked to do this. I did a rant on this at the beginning of the show. He's doing a great job. He's being smart and disciplined. So, relax. Man, there's so many of these little tidbits here. Chargers have only blitzed on 20.1% of their opposing dropbacks, lowest in the NFL. We've talked about that. We talked about the Stroud one. Let's see. Okay, I guess we got up to them all. Yeah. So, I mean, that's pretty much all I got. I can go through the timeline to see if I miss anything, as far as the game goes. Normally, I like to do press conferences, so I'm going to be posting today at some point, a thread. I'll do, both sides. I watch interviews from both sides and clip, each team talking about the opponent. Go to my X, I'll post it, and I'll have, Harbaugh, Herbert, Stroud, D'Amico, Caserio all talking about the game. In case I don't get to on my show here, I'm just going to finish up in a second. But yeah, again, if you haven't seen it, watch party at Carbach tomorrow at 3:30. Come join myself, Ruben, Harley, AD, Texans Jacob, Texans on 3, Clayton, many others. Food, drinks will be there. Kid friendly, pet friendly. Come check it out. You can RSVP at my site or the link below. It's pinned to my profile. We'll have prizes. We'll be doing a canned food drive for the Houston Food Bank. So just going through, let's see here. Here were some moves done today. Just a moment ago, Kavon Wallace was signed to the 53-man Leki Fotu. Someone tell me how to pronounce it, Leki or Lekai. And then City Sao got signed to the 53-man. That's not a good sign. But yeah, Jarrett Patterson, somebody who could see some reps at guard for Titus if Titus moves, which he probably will. So Jarrett Patterson at left guard. Johnny Carter and Darrell Taylor and Justin Watson will not travel with the team to LA. Okay. I mean, that's not big news. You can see I break down film on here. Here is Jim Harbaugh talking about CJ Stroud. This is pretty cool.
He's great. Always thought that since I watched him in his playoffs of his senior year in person. Like, this guy's got it. He's just always been that guy. And same, just huge talent. But also, I will say this, like one of the great guys, one of just the nicest person. Very similar to Derwin James in their personality. I mean, just real gentleman. Nice to everybody. Treats everybody with respect. That's a quality. No matter what somebody can do for you or can't do for you, to watch those two treat everybody well. Just always admired that about CJ, and Derwin's the same way. And a great player, and one of the top quarterbacks in the National Football League.
Love Jim Harbaugh, man. I'm a fan of both the Harbaugh brothers, but he's, I'm more a fan of his. It's funny how slow he talks. But our friend Craze, the Chargers fan, says, all I can say is that when you read that short passes are your bread and butter, you hit the nail on the head. We are awful against short passes. And if you watch any of the games, Jags game we just had, you can see. Yeah, and so short game, our O-line is performing much better, especially in regards to pass pro. Run blocking, it's not great. But it's better in pass pro. We were ranked the number 1 offense last week by the 33rd team. They factor in PFF grades, time to throw, and sacks. And if you go and watch the tape, it's because all these throws that we're bitching about from Stroud is because he's throwing the fucking ball away, bro. And when we do throw, it's quick game. First it starts with the first year. Stroud's a rookie. Nico, people don't really know how good he is. They're, loading the box, not really playing prevent, giving us man, and we're gashing them and throwing it deep. And then second year comes around okay, these guys can play. Nico's a freak. He's a deep threat, and CJ can play. So we're going to play him like all these other respected quarterbacks and do too high and force them to dink and dunk. So this is the evolution for every young quarterback. You come in, is he good enough? Okay, you showed it. Now we'll treat you. And now the challenge is we're going to challenge your mental and make sure that you're disciplined, take the check downs, don't get greedy. And it's tough for young quarterbacks. You go from college that gets you drafted highly to your first year, rookie of the year, making plays just out there backyard balling. And then all of a sudden now it's I can't just, and now I'm getting out schemed and also playing great personnel. I'm forced to actually be disciplined and be boring. And it's easier said than done. They start to understand it, but we've seen a pure maturation of that. Stroud has known about it since the second year, slowly got better. This year, same thing. And he's getting better week by week with this maturation process. And that's where red zone in this game for both sides will be huge, particularly for the Texans. The Chargers play a bend but don't break defense. They will force you to hit the check down, underneath, which for us, that's why we've run quick games, because teams have done that. But we've also run quick game because of our pass pro. We're getting the ball out quick. That's why we don't have very many sacks. So I just conflated a couple things in there, but that's why we pass the ball short. It will be another time to do it in this game. But then now we should be able to move the ball, dink and dunk like we have pretty much all year. And just like all year, it's going to come down to red zone. You'll have your chances. And it's because our run game isn't great. We can't run down there. So how creative can Kaylee get? Can we run the ball down there? And so, yeah, shout out my guy, Product of the H. Let's go. Golden Scholar. Pardon me to test Harbaugh because no one mentions his sign stealing while the Astros. Yeah, that's true. That's true. I got this from my younger brother the other day from Christmas. A little CJ Stroud stress ball, dude. This is perfect. Been squeezing the shit out of this. I'm gonna bring it tomorrow. But let me go through the rest here, see if there's any other clips. This was crazy. Harbaugh compared Omarion Hampton to Walter Payton.
He got on some of those edges. I mean, guys had angles, and he just outran them. And some of those collisions he's seeking, it's almost like, I'm gonna say Walter Payton just because that's in my mind of a running back that really, is trying to be the aggressor, not the aggressee. And he gets on that sideline. He's looking to get upfield, and he's looking to deliver the contact.
Be some big collisions. We like contact too. Yeah, Gruden did a good breakdown on YouTube of the game. Y'all should check it out. Let me just go back through. There's probably a couple other. We can get some of these mic'd ups. CJ Stroud after the game.
And the Texans do it.
Much respect, bro. Keep doing your thing, man. Yes, sir. You too, brother. Man, Gino, much respect, bro. You're a dog, bro. You too. Yes, sir. Appreciate all the game you gave me in the offseason, too. Sure. Hey, yes, sir. You all season, man. Yeah, all the way. Yes, sir. Appreciate you, brother. Miss you, buddy. How you doing? Good. You good? How's your family? It's good. Yeah.
Tommy Eichenberg, his former roommate and teammate at Ohio State.
Man, it's good to see you, brother. Love you, bro. Yeah, love you, too. Yes, sir. Tell your family I said hi. Much respect, baby. Keep doing your thing, family. You too, bro. Yes, sir. Keep going. Yes, sir.
Jamal
yes, sir.
Adams.
What's up, y'all? I got the dub, man.
And the Texans
And
do
then,
it.
yeah, here's the from Football Insights, FBALL _insights on X. The coverage rates, Chargers, 15% man coverage. So checks out a lot of zones. That's 85% zone. Obviously, you mostly blitz out of man. You can do some zone blitzes, so not a lot of blitzing. Highest used coverage is cover 3. And then cover 4, they're one of the tops. I mean, they're pretty similar to the Texans because Texans are 21% man. Our highest is cover 3 at 34, and then cover 4s are next at 21. So a pretty similar defensive style as the Texans as far as trends for the year. So, yep, Texans were officially eliminated from the chances of getting the number 1 seed last night with the Broncos winning. Jaden Reed tweeted or posted on IG, see y'all soon. So hopefully he comes back at the strong safety position. Lions got eliminated. That was crazy. Here's John Gruden talking about the Texans secondary.
I really think Stingley could flip over and be one of the best receivers in the league. He has incredible ball skills. He can be in bump and run coverage and flip his eyes at the last second, find the ball and catch it. That damn Stingley, I'm glad I don't have to play against him. He is really something. Stingley will be on the offensive right most of the time. Lassiter's on the left. You think I'm getting excited about these guys, Jake? Yep. I haven't even talked about my favorite guy, Jalen Petrie. You talk about an impact player. He's given up a 50.4 QBR. He's got 4 picks. Good God. I love his playing style. He plays like Troy Polamalu. He plays like a corner, a safety, and a linebacker all in one. I think Petrie is the secret weapon that they use differently every week. His playing style, I think, gets everybody going, man. He is really an exciting player to watch. So you got 3 excellent corners. I think all 3 should be in the Pro Bowl this year.
Agreed.
And don't look past Kalen Bullock, their young safety. Bullock wears number 2. He's got 4 interceptions. When Bullock plays down in the box,
Yeah, so that's some high praise from Gruden there on Petrie. Y'all know how I felt about Petrie, man. I agree with everything he said, man. I mean, the Polamalu thing is crazy, but yeah, let's just get through a couple more. See, I feel like there's a couple more clips I might need to share with y'all. Yeah, so D'Amico talked about Aziz, the green dot. Let's see here. Yeah, there's the rankings we talked about. Oh yeah, I got a shout out Luke the Cardist. He made me this custom. I'll show y'all right here. I got it right here. Very nice of him. It's been a while since it's been, I've had it for almost a month probably, but let me see. Stop sharing. So he made me this custom Dalton Schultz card. The light's on there. You can see it right here. So he gets like original Panini cards, and then I'm trying to get in the camera, sorry. And he'll paint over them, and it's a 101. He'll sign it, but like, this is sick, dude. Shout out my guy Luke the Cardist. He's on Instagram. Here's his sticker, Luke the Cardist. Y'all should check him out, dude. Came in like a box with the autograph on there, or signature. But yeah, that was super dope of him. Shout out Luke. And let me go back and share this instead. Share the screen. Let's see. Yeah, the kick in the pylon. The kick in the pylon celebration is dope. And there's more clips on my timeline. I'm trying to find stuff that's pertinent to what we need to hear about. Let's see. There's Aziz. Yeah, Phillip Rivers talking about rooting for the Chargers. I would recommend watching on the Texans YouTube. Lecrae interviewed D'Amico. There was some good stuff on here, but Here is D'Amico when asked by Lecrae about handling criticisms of being a defensive head coach.
Some of the criticisms that have come your way in light of some of those things.
Yeah, it's always funny. I always get that. Even reporters, they were like, "You being a defensive head coach," or "You." I'm like,
I've like rewatched this clip by posting and whatnot, but like I love D'Amico's impersonations. That impersonation of the reporters is hilarious. You being a defensive head coach. I play that again.
It's always funny. I always get that. Even reporters, they were like, "You being a defensive head coach," or "You." I'm like, I mean, what do I study? I'm always studying offense. So I'm looking at more offense than I'm looking at defense, trying to see how I need to deploy guys and how do I attack the offense. So, for me watching it so much, I can help our offensive coaches and let them know, okay, what affects defenses the most.
Yeah.
And kind of give them the insights that I have of things I've seen and things that I would try that will put the defense in by. So it's like I see it all. I see all 22 on the field, and I hear that all the time. But I let people know I don't want to box myself into just being a defensive head coach. And I may not call the offensive plays, but I know what's going on.
Okay.
He's been involved, bro, since he hung up
thought.
the play calling to. It's been a difference too. Like the offense obviously hasn't been elite, but like there's been a difference in how it's been done. Let's see here, kind of get through some more. This is Jeremy Fowler on ESPN about the Texans-Chargers game.
Swagger, that's a great point because every team I talk to after they play Houston, they say the same thing, that we are beat dang up. They are the most physical team in the league. Every team says that. And so that's what's fascinating about this matchup, because how much is Herbert going to run knowing that Houston doesn't really feel like they have to blitz a whole lot because they have those two elite pass rushers. They come off the edge. And so Herbert, if he's tempted to run, they're just going to wait for him, and then they're going to hit him 4 or 5 yards downfield with no problem. So he's had the hand injury issue. He's played beat up. We know he's tough, but how tough is he going to have to be to get through this game?
That's crazy. I mean, he's a insider, and he says every team he talks to, they talk about how physical the Texans are. So, but yeah, so watch party. Don't forget about that. Yeah, Herbert's been getting hit, man. Let's see what else we got. Everyone's coming around. Rodney Harrison talking about before the Chiefs game. I don't know if the Texans got it in them. I got to see how they handle this game. I don't know if they're mentally fit. And everyone's on the bandwagon now.
The best team right now in the AFC is, and I'll start with you, Coach. Who do you think?
Well, last week I said Denver. 2 weeks before that I said New England. I'm going to give you one. I'm going to give you one out of left field, but if I'm rolling the dice, no, Houston Texans. They got a big game this week, but I like Houston where they've come. I like the way that defense is. CJ's playing better. They're in the 7th spot right now. I don't know any of those teams above them that would want to play them right now.
I would say New England and Houston. I would have those two teams as my top. Houston with that defense is ridiculous, but I do believe that New England with that powerful offense, and then they got those two guys coming back eventually on the defensive side. Yeah, it's hard to go against Denver right there, but that loss was significant to me.
I think the Texans are one of those sleeper teams right now too, that nobody's really focused on, and they're slipping right down there at the bottom of that AFC playoff picture. But who the heck plays better defense than the Texans? And then if you get Stroud heating up, my gosh, that's a team you can trust on both sides of the ball. How about Jacksonville? That's another team that
facts. Man, this was dope. This is about Nico and a family of a child who had cerebral palsy and ended up passing away potentially from complications due to it. But he was a big Nico fan and was buried in his jersey. So here's Nico on that.
The playmaker, the game changer for sure.
Non-football question.
This is via Aaron Wilson, who's been covering this and wrote a great article on it. So shout out, Aaron.
You met a family whose son, it was his wish to meet you. That unfortunately passed before he could. What was it like meeting them and getting a chance to talk to them about how much of a fan he was when he was here?
It was real sad, man. My condolences to him, his family, his loved ones. Just means a lot that I was his favorite. And him being buried in my jersey. That's what his mom said. But it's sad all around. Especially for a young kid. Him and his family, his loved ones. So my prayers to him and his families forever, man. Yeah, just send my condolences for sure.
Sad, man. Sad stuff. Nico's a good dude. But that's a reminder that football, man, it's a big deal. Yeah, I want to do a couple more, and I got to go. Let's see. There's the picks. One of the guys picked 32-12, trolling. MJD is now picking us again. But we're under picks right now. Here's Tommy Eichenberg.
I'm on punt. Right here, man.
Stroud's former teammate, but he was chirping the ref like, "How can I hold?" And he walks to Stroud like, "I'm holding the F out of him." I feel like I had one or two more. We're still the fewest points allowed in the league, 249. That includes special teams. The next highest or next lowest is the Seahawks at 279. This was Stroud mic'd up, letting them know he's mic'd up.
Mike, hot Mike. I'm hot Mike. Hot Mike, hot Mike. Police, 12. 12 down there somewhere. I'm hot today. Hot Mike. Yeah. I'm hot Mike. Yeah, I'm police. I'm 12. Hey, I'm 12, y'all boys. I'm 12 today. Y'all remember this? Remember you got served? What? Remember you got served? Yeah.
He didn't remember it. But yeah, so I think that's good. Okay. Oh, here's the last one I want to do. D'Amico Lecrae about his leadership style.
Would not be as intimidated by you as a coach because of your value system. Like how do you navigate all of that?
It's you can still bring the intensity and fire by being a Christian man, right? And I think it's all about how you talk to people. Like, I'm not the coach the old school coach that's cursing guys out to get guys moving. One, guys don't respect that, and I feel like it's kind of disrespectful to the players. I never want to disrespect the players. I'll tell guys the truth. That's one thing. I'm going to be truthful, but I'm going to be respectful in how I do it. And a lot of times, guys, you may not want to hear that truth, but it's my job to tell you anyway.
Yeah.
Right? And I think the players resonate with that. They respect me for that because, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. And I'm not going to demean them or make them feel bad, but I'm just going to tell them, hey, we can be better in this way or that way. So you can coach, you can be demanding without being disrespectful.
He's a true leader, man. Like, I don't get all this hate that he gets, but shout out Henry Jack, doing good. Daniel on X asked if I could look at his mock draft. I'm so locked in the season, bro. But yeah, if you tag me, I'll look at it. I really don't know much, but yeah, y'all come through the Carbach. Check out my shirts on HoustonStressans.com. The flag, I'm gonna start. There we go. Selling soon. It's listed there now. I'm waiting for my sample to come in to make sure it's legit. But I added a bunch of my own stuff on there. Always looking to add stuff on there for you guys. But yeah, man, I appreciate you guys. Hopefully we come through with the dub tomorrow. It should be, in my opinion, the way I'm looking at it, I'm not going to freak out when we're not lighting up the scoreboard, but it should be a grinded out game, just like the Chiefs and Chargers game, Chiefs and Texans game, in my opinion. But yeah, I think it should be a close game. We got a legit chance to win. I'm not going to sit here and say we're going to blow them out, beat them. That could happen, but I think it's a game that we can and should win. But I'm looking forward to it. So, yeah, the Washington pick is legit. So, but yeah, until next time, man, I appreciate y'all. Love you guys. Henry Jack, I don't know on the drafts. I know you got a draft question. Jeremiah Love will not be there. It'd be nice to get a running back, but I don't know that we will. But yeah, until next time, see you guys. We bless.